Arkansas remains the only state with no tenant habitability protections. Tenants can be jailed and are jailed for non-payment of rent. Despite these dismal truths, however, a deeper truth remains: that if we truly want to love our neighbor, we need to ensure that they have a safe place to sleep.
New this morning, Arkansas is the only state that does not require landlords to maintain safe structures for renters.
The bill aims to require minimum housing standards for tenants, because right now, landlords technically do not have to fix any of these issues.
House Bills 1563 and 1769 both deal with landlord-tenant laws in Arkansas.
Arkansas is the only state that does not have substantial renters law.
There are now two bills floating around the Capitol dealing with tenant laws in Arkansas.
Every other state in the country has some form of an implied warranty of habitability.
It's time to pass something.
The apartment that I'm in now was vacant. It was vacant because the repairs hadn't been done. They didn't go and check and see what was wrong with this apartment. The plumbing would not drain at all. The bathroom, the tub, the sink, none of that plumbing would drain. The water was coming from under my stove. I'm sweeping water out the back door. I started reporting this issue 2 years ago, this water leak, when they first moved me here in 2020. Mold can be a serious health issue. Mold can cause cognitive function loss in your brain. Mold can cause breathing issues. I have 3 children that have asthma. They back and forth in the hospital. I got a 6-year-old son now, and his nose bleeds, bleed. And we outside playing baseball this one day, and he grabs his chest. "Mom, I can't breathe, my chest hurt." And he jumping up and down, because his chest is hurting. And he threw up, it was blood. I mean, the scariest moment in my life. Straight to the emergency room. And still, I'm just ready to go. And I put in for them to transfer me out of North Little Rock altogether 2 months ago. And now I'm having difficulties with them just letting me leave your property.
Arkansas is the only state without an implied warranty of habitability, and essentially what that means is that a landlord is required to provide a living space that is habitable. And that sounds very basic, and you can't imagine why we wouldn't have that, but we don't. And so there really isn't any requirement that a landlord provide shelter that doesn't leak, provide access to heat, to running water. In 2021, the most recent legislative session, kind of what we had been fearing for a number of years did finally happen. Some lawmakers managed to pass a bill that looks like an implied warranty of habitability, and it does say that it requires landlord to provide a habitable structure, but there's no enforcement mechanism. So really the only remedy that a tenant has if a landlord isn't providing, say, running water, is to move out. And that's not much of a remedy at all, obviously. So it's basically toothless legislation. The only benefit to the 2021 bill is that when it comes to unlawful detainer cases, tenants are no longer required to put down a deposit in order to be able to appear before a judge in court. Saying that you're going to have to put down a chunk of money just to have your case heard by a judge was a significant obstacle. So that is one good thing out of the 2021 law.
The people who rent should have some rights. They should have some rights. And right now, they don't. They basically don't. When you got feces coming back up in your tub, you can't use your bathroom. That's terrible. And then they say they're going up on the rent. They're going up on the rent, but they're not fixing nothing. I got my kids. I can't afford to move, but I can't afford to live here either. So you start living in this house that is totally messed up.
There are about 15,000 to 20,000 Marshallese living in the state of Arkansas. And only 1.9% of those folks are homeowners. Regardless of that small amount, I don't think the Marshalleys deserved what they've been through. They've been experiencing a lot of eviction notices, a lot of racism, a lot of discriminations from landlords, and I don't think we're doing a good job at providing a safe place to live. And I think we need to do a better job in this situation.
I came here from the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and we had rental protection in California so that if anything went wrong and we reported it to our manager, they were required to have it fixed within, I believe it was 24 to 48 hours. And here, we do not have that same protection. If we report something to the manager, you're lucky if they even get to it at all. We have an uncontrollable amount of roaches in our apartment, and we spray for them, and it doesn't do very much good. During the evenings, they're out and prowling around, a lot of them. During the daytime, they hide more. And I started to bleach my counters, and I cannot get rid of them. I need help.
We have roach problems. Our water is leaking in the bathroom. Our stove doesn't want to work right. And the people who manage this place does not want to fix it. And also, we have mold issues here. There's literally hundreds to thousands of roaches, and they get into everything. Do I feel like I'm heard? Absolutely not. They try to ignore as many people here as possible, and they keep changing the office hours to make it harder and harder for people to make reports or even to pay rent for that matter.
Al principio empecé a notar que había demasiadas cucarachas. Le hablé a la dueña y le dije y no me hizo caso. Después mis niños se llenaron de ronchas y era cuando miré que había chinches debajo en las orillas de la cama. Y después salieron los ratoncitos, que había un nido de ratoncitos en la lavadora por la parte de atrás. Cuando yo reporté esos defectos en la casa, no me dijo la dueña que iba a venir y que iba a arreglar, pero que ella tenía su casa en perfectas condiciones. Lo que dijo la dueña de la casa, que su casa estaba en buenas condiciones, pero que ella no tenía ni ratones, ni cucarachas, mucho menos chinches. Es muy difícil ser una mamá soltera con 4 hijos a cargo. Y gracias a Dios me han estado ayudando las escuelas, las iglesias. Pues yo opino que está muy mal, porque si tuvieran conciencia arreglarían y fueran unos mejores managers para arreglar las cosas de los departamentos, viendo que uno tiene hijos y con bajos recursos y no los suficientes. Yo pienso que nomás piensan en el puro dinero y no piensan en la salud, ni cómo está la familia, ni qué es lo que necesitan.
As someone dealing with a food pantry and providing food to individuals in Northwest Arkansas, there's some discrimination that's going on. It's not going to be said out loud. It's not going to be as vocal. You would think that we would want to do better, but not in Arkansas. We're still struggling with renters' rights. You just put up with it. But how do you live where sewage is coming up through your kitchen sink, or coming up through your bathroom sink, or through your bathtub? How are you literally taking a bath, washing your clothes, brushing your teeth, or even feeding your family food? If I could change the rules to be more fair in the state of Arkansas, I would impose some renters' rights. Specifically that your place has running water, it has no insects or rodents, that there's no holes in the walls, that there's no sewage coming up through your toilet and or your sink, and that if you have those issues, you shouldn't be renting it out to anyone.
I'm a community organizer, and we began an initiative called Arkansas Renters United in 2018. And so we're looking to organize the folks who are experiencing the problem of Arkansas's lack of decent laws. So I think the eviction laws are very unfair towards tenants. We still have a criminal eviction law, a holdover from Jim Crow on the books. We have a small claims court eviction. The civil eviction process is very unfair to tenants because it gives tenants a very small window to respond. And so that's one set of laws that need to be changed. The other is there's no implied warranty of habitability for rental property. So that basically means that if you rent, you have to put up with bad conditions, and if you don't, you have to pay the rent. And if you don't pay the rent, even though you could have a sewer backed up in your bathtub, you could be evicted.
I have lived in Jefferson Manor Apartments for 49 years. And when I first moved here, it was the most beautiful, quiet, friendly place to stay. The management was fine, maintenance was fine. They done a lot for the kids. We had stuff to do. The TA building was set up with pool table, ping pong tables, computers, everything for kids to do after school. Over the years, different management came in, everything went downhill. I got a half a tub of feces and water in my tub. Not only that, it was standing 2 inches deep in my bathroom. My room is water soaked, my hall, and then my pantry and my kitchen. It was looking like a lake. The water was standing just that bad. And the reason why I think that they don't change that law, because most of the legislators, they have rental property. I keep up with some politics, and that's one of them that I keep up with. Most of them own it, and they don't want it changed because that's gonna make them responsible where they have to go in and fix the problem. And they don't want to spend money. We're good enough to pay our money, but you're not good enough to fix anything.
This is really about landlords and realtors versus tenants. And unfortunately, landlords and realtors are going to have far more resources and have far more investment in seeing that these laws don't pass, whereas most tenants aren't going to have a collective force to come down and lobby lawmakers on this particular issue.
But it's not the residents here, it's the management companies. We've had people hospitalized, there's roaches, there's spiders, just all manner of mess. It's just not right. It's just not right.
People misunderstand the problem. The problem is not a matter of personal failure. That's not why we have thousands of evictions in the state and so many people who are housing insecure. It's the way that we've created laws. Laws should not encourage injustice. They should not excuse failure. Our laws have to be fair, and they have got to not be exploitative, because exploitative housing laws threaten the safety and the economic health of this state and our communities that we live in.
So when we moved here, it was kind of an upgrade at the time. We used to go outside, he used to play. We could do a lot, plant flowers and stuff, we used to do a lot. And now we've lived a very isolated lifestyle to a point where it's unhealthy for over 4 years. What I would like to see for me and my family is peace. I want peace because these issues have literally driven me and my son to having health issues. And when he came here, we had been through so much already. He was happy.
I see cockroaches, big cockroaches that can fly. Or my neighbor's sewage went wild, well, that was the worst time of my life. It was poop, pee come through the walls, getting my clothes, my mama's clothes. Every time they say they was gonna come fix something, never do. Make it worse. And I'd say people have rights. Sometimes I wish I could just restart the whole thing. Make sure we never got this house, we got a different house.
I kind of asked him about what my dream. Okay, my dream house is simply somewhere where we all could feel safe.
Arkansas does not have to be the only state in the union without any meaningful protection for tenants. We can love our neighbors in this way and it will benefit the most vulnerable among us. I'm thinking of queer and genderqueer folks like me and our transgender siblings, many of whom have been kicked out of their families of origin because of religious bias and are struggling to keep afloat. I'm thinking of communities that we've heard from in this short film. Black and Marshallese and Latinx neighbors and people with disabilities and people whose identities intersect and are historically marginalized. I'm thinking of white people who are cash poor. Really anyone who is not wealthy and does not own their home or the land it is on. My prayer is that Arkansas will do better by these neighbors of ours. We can do better for them, for us, and we should, because everyone deserves a safe place to sleep. We can make that happen if you get involved. You need to vote, you need to contact your elected officials and let them know that this is an issue that is important to your values. We can make Arkansas a place where all of us have a safe place to sleep.